हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायापतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। are seeing the 16th chapter of Gita, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. That is the name. So Bhagavan described the Daivi, Lakshanas of Daivi, person with Daivi Sampatti, and also described in detail the Lakshana, the characteristics of those who are born with Asuri Sampatti, which one has to give up. So Bhagavan says, though there are infinite different varieties of impurities and Asuri tendencies are there, all of them can be condensed into these three main negative qualities, negative tendencies, and they are Kama, Krodha and Lobha. Bhagavan says they are like the Dwara of Naraka. So this Kama, Krodha, Lobha, they are like threefold gateway of hell, of Naraka. Naraka is that which gives us pain, sorrow, lot of suffering. So this Kama, Krodha, Lobha not only gives lot of unhappiness and sorrow to these people while living in this world, but also when they drop their body, they go to some type of very low type of hell, Naraka, or are born in lower Asuri yonis. So if one can eliminate this Kama, Krodha, Lobha, that itself is like purifying the mind. The mind, Antakarana, will become absolutely pure, free from all negativities. Because the very source, the very root of all negativities are these three, Kama, Krodha and Lobha. And they have tremendous intensity. Their root is that avidya only, and this Kama, Krodha, Lobha becomes more and more intense in a person, that his whole life gets totally captured and overpowered by these tendencies, and he keeps falling down and down on this evolutionary ladder. So Kama, Krodha, Tadha, Lobha Etair Vimuktaha Kaunteya Tamodvare Tribhir Naraha, one who is free of these three negativities, they pursue the spiritual path. Bhagavan says, Tato Yati Param Gatim, they attain the supreme goal of moksha. See the intensity which is there in Kama, Krodha, Lobha, same type of intensity one should have towards our ultimate goal. The love, the intensity which is shown by those people in Kama, the same intensity should be shown towards Rama. Tulsidas Ji in his Ramayana, in the very concluding Doha, Tulsidas Ji, he says very beautifully, Ki kami hi nari piyari jimi, lobhi priya jimidam, timin raghunathar nirantara, priyalagahu muhirama. Tulsidas Ji says in Ramayana, Ki kami hi nari piyari jimi, just as for a kami, a person who is totally overpowered by kama, that person likes to indulge in different pleasures, and a man is absolutely attracted towards a woman and a woman towards man to indulge in that pleasure. sexual pleasure, constantly thinking. Men keep on thinking about the woman keeps on thinking about men. So, for a kami, the nari is very, very dear. Day and night he will think and dream and always reveling in the thoughts of women. And lobhi priya jimidam, and for a lobhi, the wealth is very dear. Constantly he will think of money, how to earn, how to invest. Constantly the mind is always reveling in wealth. So kamihi nari piyari jimi, lobhi priya jimidam. So just as a kami loves the women and a lobhi loves wealth, Tulsidas ji prays that may I love Sri Ram in the same way. So beautiful. He says, let me also have that intensity of loving Ram. Like a kami loves Nari, may I love Ram. Just as lobhi keeps on day and night thinking about wealth, may I think about Ram. Kamihi nari piyari jimi, lobhi priya jimidam. Timi Raghunatha nirantara. Nirantar, may I have that devotion towards Sri Ram. Ram is Brahma. Ram is the ultimate destination. Ram is our own innermost self. Ram is the Kshetrajna. Ram is that Purusha. Ram is that Parama Purusha, Uttama Purusha, that Brahma. So may I have that devotion towards Ram. Timi Raghunatha Nirantara Priyalagahu Mohiram. So beautiful. So the intensity is there in a kami, in a lobhi, in a krodhi. They use all their energy and power towards attaining their goal, the lower goals. But if one can turn the whole thing, one can take a U-turn and utilize that energy to attain Ram, they can attain Ram instantly. That energy is there. See, just as Valmiki, he had that energy, that lobha was there, and anger. And he used to hit those travelers and snatch away their wealth. So much of energy was there with him of this lobha and for his own selfish interest and all. But when he met Naradji and he had that satsang with Naradji, and Naradji told him about Sri Ram and Ram Nam, about turn happened in Valmiki's life. Instead of calm, he started chanting Ram, 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 and became absolutely pure and wrote that immortal Ramayana. So one should strive to drop these three. Then our path becomes clear. Otherwise, these three will lead us towards hell only. Sometimes the kamna takes a person to hell, or at times lobha takes that person to hell, or krodha, or people use all three to go towards hell, to go towards naraka. But now that we have understood, we should use all our energy, effort, intelligence, help, satsang, etc., and all our sadhana to drop these three. As I said yesterday, that yajna dana tapak karma will help us to overcome this kama, krodha and lobha. But what exactly is yajna? What is dana? What is tapa? What is our kartavya? What is not our kartavya? What exactly is our goal? who is this I who is attaining that goal, want to attain that goal? What is that Brahma? What is Bandhan? What is Moksha? What is Papa? What is Punya? What is my Varna? What is my Ashrama? And according to that, what are my duties? Who tells me? How can I gain this understanding so that I can follow this right path and attain my goal? Bhagavan says Shastra. Shastra, the scriptures, they alone guide us towards our ultimate goal. See, when we travel, we take help of the map. We look at the road signs, but at times we get lost. Then we can even take help of that GPS, because there are those satellites which know our exact location. They know where we are and they know the entire place. So if we take help of that GPS system, it will tell me which route to take to reach our destination. Because from where we are, if we look around, we are totally lost. We can't figure out which way to go. Similarly, the Shastras are like the GPS system. They are like a guide which tells us where we are, what route to follow to reach our destination. And wherever we might be in the most unreachable corners of this world, or in whatever condition, the Shastras can guide us towards our goal. The worst person there cannot be anyone worse than that person. Such a person is also guided by the Shastras. See, many times people, out of misunderstanding, they talk about our Sanatan Dharma also, that you can do whatever you want. Still you are a Hindu. You worship or you don't worship. You go to temple or don't go to temple. It is not like that. The Shastras guide systematically, properly. It is not a law of the jungle. From wherever we are, guidance is given. What guidance is given to one person may not be applicable to the other person. Like the GPS I am driving, it tells me, okay, take a right turn to go to your destination. But another person who is coming from the opposite side want to go to the same destination, the GPS will say, take a left turn. So we might say, what is this wrong with GPS? Though we are going to the same destination, it is telling me right turn, telling that person left turn. So it is guiding each and every person according to their own station in life. That is the beauty. That is the beauty of our Shastras. It guides the little children, the elderly people, the man, the woman, those who are brahmachari, grahasti, vanprastha, sannyasi, those who are brahman, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. Every person is guided towards that ultimate goal. So one has to take support of this Shastra. If we don't take support and do whatever we like, we will not reach our destination. So that is what now Bhagavan tells us, the importance of this Shastra in this following two verses. He says, verse number 23, Yashastra vidhimuchrujya vartate kamakarataha na siddhimavapnoti na sukham na parangatim. Bhagavan says, Yaha, whoever that person may be, who discard the Shastras. Shastra vidhim ushrujya. See, the Shastras give us vidhi and nished, tells us what to do and what not to do. But if a person disregard the instructions of the Shastras, doesn't follow, like a person is driving and the GPS is telling us to take a right turn, this fellow takes a left turn. It tells us to stop there, it keeps on going ahead. It tells us to take a U-turn, it doesn't. So when one doesn't listen, we don't reach our destination. So yes, Shastram vidhim ushrujya. And why? What propels a person to not to listen to the Shastra? Bhagavan says it is the kamana only. Our kama, krodha and lobha makes us not to listen to this Shastra. They keep on doing whatever their kamana tells them. Vartate kamakaratah. Either you listen to Rama. If you don't listen to Rama, then you will be listening to Kama only. No other option. If you are listening to Kama, you are not listening to Rama. And if you are listening to Rama, then you can give up your Kama. So, vartate kamakaratah. See, what are the Shastras? Our Vedas are the Shastra, the very root, the very source. Vedokilam, Veda akila dharma moolam. The very root of all dharma, the source which teaches us about our dharma and about that Brahma. We have seen in the 15th chapter, Bhagavan talks about the whole Bhagavad Gita as a Shastra. Thereafter he talks about this 15th chapter itself as a Shastra. Because there are two things which the Shastra reveals. The main theme of the Shastra is that Brahma only. Sarvasya chaham, what you call the Vedascha sarvaihi aham eva vedyaha. In all the Vedas, the main theme is that Brahma. But to reach that Brahma, we have to follow the path of Dharma. So the Shastra teaches us Dharma Marga, which leads us to that Brahma. And without the help of the Shastra, we cannot reach our destination. Nasa siddhim avapnoti. Bhagavan says, one who doesn't follow the scriptures, Shastra, they won't attain the siddhi, they will not attain that ultimate goal of moksha, nor any goodness. Na sukham, they will not even gain sukha in this world. Some people may say, no, I am not interested in moksha, I am not interested in swarga, I am not interested in Brahmalok. Okay, at least you are interested to be happy. Bhagavan says, you will not even gain that happiness in this world if you disregard the Shastra. And na param gatim, nor will attain that supreme goal of moksha, nor any other, nor become fit. Siddhi here means nasa siddhim avapnoti, Shankaracharya ji write, purushartha yogyatam. A person who disregards the scriptures will not even become fit to follow the path of spirituality, will not become fit, his mind will not become pure, he will not gain vivek, vairagya, shamdam, adishak, sampatti, mumukshutvam, will not become fit. So what is so great about this Shastra? And what are the Shastra? When we say Shastra, as I said, the Vedas, Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved, they talk about Dharma and Brahma. Dharma means what actions we should do, Vidhi Nished, what we should do and what we should not do. and Brahma, the knowledge of that supreme reality, which is our own innermost self. We cannot understand what is dharma using our own logic, our own rational thinking. We cannot understand dharma through perception. Dharma, what is good for me and what is not good, can be understood only when I have the knowledge of everything. Again, the example of GPS, which route to follow and which route to avoid, that satellite which is seeing the whole area alone knows, because it can see the whole thing at a glance. Similarly, who knows what is good for me and what is not good for me? Only one who has got the knowledge of everything, knowledge of the entire creation, knowledge of my past, knowledge of my antakarana, knowledge of my samskar. Those who know me inside out alone can guide me towards my supreme goal. But who knows? Who knows everything? Who knows me? Who knows all beings? That Ishvara, who is Sarvajna. Sarvajna Ishvara knows. And from that Sarvajna Ishvara, who is that Brahma, the whole Vedas have emerged. The Vedas have come from that Brahma. So Vedas knows. And if we implicitly follow them, we will be able to attain our goal. In the Vedas, see, what you call Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. Main two portions are there. The portion of the Vedas, they talk about Dharma, and the later portion of Vedas talk about Brahma. The end portion of Vedas, the Upanishads, they reveal that Brahma. And the previous portion reveal the path of Dharma. But the Vedic statements and the Vedic, all these mantras are so not very easy to comprehend. And initial student without proper guidance, if one tries to read them, will get thoroughly confused. Just as I said, GPS, we will say, oh, it is saying left to this person, it says go right to that person. So one will get confused. So the statements might appear contradictory to a person who reads them, but they all are properly integrated and convey a beautiful message and guidance to all. So how to understand this Vedas, the Dharma portion? So great Acharya Jaimini, the disciple of Vedavyasji, he wrote Dharma Sutra, aphorisms on Dharma. And when we study those aphorisms, we come to understand exactly what the Vedas are guiding us. Again, when we try to understand the Upanishads, there also so many statements are there which might appear contradictory. There it is saying one thing, here it is saying something else. Upanishad says that, oh, from that Atma, Akash is created. Then somewhere it says from there the pranas are born. So one may get confused with so many as though contradictory statements. So to convey that all the Vedas, the Upanishads are conveying that one truth, and properly, logically, systematically, it is conveying that one truth, completely guiding all seekers. to show that there are no contradictions, Vedavyasji, he wrote Brahma Sutras, 555. Vedavyasji wrote Brahma Sutra, 555 sutras, and there he shows that there are no contradictions. Everything is very, very logical, systematic, conveying the truth. See, the truth is one, and that alone is indicated in all the Upanishads. The Vedas also have limbs. To understand the Vedas, there are limbs of Vedas. There are 6 limbs are there, which are called Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chanda, Nirukta, Jyotisha, Kalpa. Shiksha means the phonetics, how the Vedas should be chanted. Vyakarana, the grammar of Vedas. Chanda, the meter, the poetic meter. Nirukta, the etymology, the meanings. Jyotish, the astrology, so that we know at what time, at what place the ritual should be done. Then Kalpa, the rituals, various karma mentioned in the Vedas. So they are like, the 6 are like the limbs of the Vedas. Shiksha is like the nose, Vyakarana, the mouth, Chandas, the feet, Nirukta, the ears, Jyotish, the eyes, Kalpa, the hands. Beautiful. But Vedas are so very difficult to comprehend, so the Vedic knowledge itself is revealed in our Puranas. There are 18 Puranas and 18 Upapuranas. In those Puranas also the same teaching is revealed in a most beautiful way. Puranas are the cosmic history of this whole cosmos. It talks about how this creation happened and who are the main one. Uttama Purusha is there, but that same Uttama Purusha alone is expressing as this world, expressing as all the devatas, expressing as all the jivas, and how those devatas run the show of this world, how creation happens, how sustenance happens, how dissolution happens, how all these devatas manage all this show of this world. Everything is described in the Puranas. What are the defects, how to overcome them, who are the great devotees who have followed this path, what are their, what was the experiences in their life. So many. What are the karma and karma phala? If one does negative karmas, one goes to different types of lokas, narakas, they are also described. And if you do positive karma, you go to positive lokas, they are also described. So vast literature, amazing, Puranas. And then again this dharma which is declared in the Vedas and the Puranas are simplified in so many other dharma granthas, like Manusmriti is there, most fascinating and beautiful. Then Gautam Smriti, and so many are there which guides on the basis of the teaching of the Vedas. Then we have Itihas, history. Ramayana and Mahabharata are history. During that time, Treta Yuga, when Ramchandra ji was born, he took avatar. So the story of Sri Ram, history of Sri Ram. Then Mahabharata, history of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So all these are the Shastras which guide, they are vast. Because it's such deep science. But the beauty is, though they are vast, the basic teaching is very simple, which one can follow and attain our goal. See, just as let us say the medical profession, the medical science is vast, so many things. Suppose I have headache, I don't know anything about it, but I read and then I come to know that if I take some analgesic, some pill, it will help. But then I should know what are the ingredients and how to prepare that pill and how it affects my system, how it will affect my nervous system, my circulatory system, the digestive system, all the muscles, this, that and all. So much of knowledge is there. But if you go to a doctor, he will just give you the pill, you take it and your headache goes away. You don't have to have the entire knowledge of the medical science to gain the benefit out of it. Similarly, though the Vedas are vast and they are very, very systematic, very profound, but we can surrender to our master, our teacher, and get simple Upadesh message, which if we follow sincerely, we will attain our goal. What is said in Vedas, we have seen that it is briefly indicated in the 15th chapter, only 20 verses, or in detail in the whole Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. But one should have faith and pursue this Vedic teaching. The Vedas are Anadi, Ananta and Apaurusheya. Anadi means beginningless, means they are always there, because they are expression of Brahma. So Brahma is always there, Vedas are always there. Nitya. Just as the world is Nitya, the Jivas are Nitya, Ishvara is Nitya, Vedas are also Nitya only. They just in different yugas, they might just disappear for some time, then again they appear, but they are always there. Then they are Ananta. Ananta means vast, infinite. What is there available is very tiny portion of the Vedas, but they are infinite. And Apaurusheya, they are not the product of human intelligence. Vedas are expression of that Brahma alone. Therefore, there are no defects of human intelligence in the Vedas. There are no contradictions. There are no partialities. There are no other defects in the Vedas. Because there is no human author. See, when we talk about some literature, we know the author, some book. Modern times, so many people have written so many books. We know who wrote. Or if you go back to our scriptures, if we talk about Mahabharata, who wrote Mahabharata? Oh, we say Vedavyasji wrote Mahabharata. Mahabharata happened in 5,000 years ago, but we know Vedavyasji wrote. Who wrote Ramayana? We know Valmiki ji wrote. Though Ramayana happened lakhs of years ago, about 8 lakhs, more than 8 lakhs years ago, Sri Ram was born, and the Ramayana happened, but still we know. But in the Ramayana itself, they talk about Vedas as Anadi, beginningless, and as Apaurusheya, not of human intelligence, expression of that Brahma. So, yash shastram vidhim vartate kamakarataha. So, such vast and beautiful guidance is given to us. But if we disregard them and want to do whatever our mind tells us, whatever our kama, krodha, lobha, moha, we just follow them. Bhagavan says, nasa siddhim avapna. That person will not become fit to attain any purushartha. Even dharma, artha, kama, moksha will not be, that person will not be able to attain them. Will not gain that happiness even in this world. Will not be able to acquire proper resources to gain those happiness in this world. Artha also will not be possible. Dharma will not be possible, and moksha will not be possible. Na sukham will not gain happiness, na param gatim, not the supreme goal. Therefore, one should follow the Shastra guidance, either directly, but directly we can't learn, so from the teacher we learn and we follow them. See, from the teacher we can learn the Shastra which will help me to follow and attain my goal. Or one can learn from the teacher to become a teacher and guide others while oneself following that path. Like if I am not well, I go to the doctor, and from the doctor I learn what medicine to take, what I should pursue to become healthy. That much guidance I get from the doctor. But I can also learn to become a doctor and guide others. So if I want to be a doctor, I should know all about medical science. But if I want to pursue my own path, then I only have to know a little bit. Similarly, if you want to be a teacher, then you should know all that is said in all the Vedas, Upanishads, and Dharma Granthas and all. But if one wants to pursue one's own path in a simple way, a little guidance is enough. So, in the next verse, last verse of this chapter, Bhagavan says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavastito Nyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartumiharhasi. Bhagavan says, Ki Tasmat, therefore. See, Bhagavan uses the word Tasmat, therefore, after explaining, after giving all the reasons. He says, therefore, here Arjuna, Bhagavan talks very logically, rationally, systematically. Very, very beautifully. So he says, Tasma Shastram Pramanante. Hey Arjuna, therefore, the Shastras are the Praman, the authority. Authority for what? For Karya Akarya Vyavastito. For what we should do and what we should not do. The Vyavastha. We can gain that knowledge of our Kartavya, what is our duty and what is not our duty. Kartavya Akartavya Vyavasthayam. For everyone. What is my duty may not be your duty. Therefore, Bhagavan has said before also that Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. That you, even if you die performing your own duty, that is better than to give up your duty and do something else. Shastra. Tasma Shastram Pramanam. See, a Shastra is this Lakshanas are there, Anadi, Ananta, Paurusheya, and no contradictions in them. And the beauty is that even, let us say, a Mahatma tells us something, or a wise person tells us something, which is not in opposition to what the Shastras are saying, one can follow. one can freely follow their guidance. Suppose a text is there, written by some great master, and it is in tune with what the Vedas are telling, then we can follow those guidance also. Like Tulsidas ji, he wrote Ramayana in Awadhi Bhasha. So why should we follow what he has written? Because he has written in a particular time. So what he has written is not Anadi Ananta Paurusheya. But what Tulsidas ji wrote is in tune with what the Vedas are telling. Therefore, in the beginning itself of Ramayana, Tulsidas ji tells कि नाना पुराण निगमागम सम्मतं यत् रामायणे निगदितं क्वचिदन्यतोऽपि स्वान्तः सुखाय तुलसी रघुनाथ गाथा भाषा निबन्धमतिमञ्जुलमातनोति नाना पुराण निगमागम सम्मतं यत्. Tulsidas ji say what is written in this Ramayana is sammatam, it's in tune, it's not against what is said in the Agama, in the Vedas, in the Puranas, in the Itihas, in other granthas. It is not in conflict with any of them. Therefore one can follow. And in a very simple way, Tulsidas ji guides. Simple teaching, step by step. Prathama bhagati santana kar sanga, dusari rati mama katha prasanga. Step by step. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Guidance is there at all levels. We should just have that faith and follow them, and we shall attain our goal. But if we don't have faith, if we disregard this Shastra, then we are in trouble. And those Shastras, those literature, even if they are religious literature or written by some so-called great person, if they are against what the scriptures are saying, they should be dropped. If a so-called teacher says anything against the scriptures, the teacher should be all dropped. Shastras are Praman. Even when Bhagwan takes avatar, even when he has to say something, he says that this is said in the Vedas. He says what I am saying is there in the Vedas. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vidyaha. Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. So tasma shastram pramanante. So shastras are the prama. Shastra, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Itihas, the Smriti Granthas, they are the prama. And any literature, anything in tune with them. If anything is not in tune, they are not prama. See, for example, the sutras which are written, the Dharma Sutras by Jaimini, they are also Praman. The Brahma Sutra written by Vedavyasji, they are also Praman. But the other darshanas are there. Vaisheshik, Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga. They don't accept the Vedas as Praman completely. They take only that which is convenient for them and reject other things. Then that is not Praman. Those are not Praman. So tasmat shastram pramanante. See, Praman means that which helps us to gain that knowledge. Now, what knowledge we have to gain? We have to gain knowledge of our own self, and we have to gain knowledge of this world. Because at present, we have certain notion about ourselves, and we are constantly interacting with the world. And our interaction with the world is giving us sorrow, pain, trouble. So we have to know exactly who is this I who is interacting with this world, and what exactly is this Swarup of this world. So when we take the guidance of this Shastra, the Shastras teaches us very systematically that the Swarup of this world is Brahma, and my Swarup is also Brahma. There are other pramanas which we use to understand the world, like perception, that is Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, that is inference, then Upamanam, that is comparison, Arthapatti, that's also a Praman where logically one thinks to arrive at that understanding. But all these four Pramanas, except the Vedic Praman, the four other Pramanas which are used to understand the world, with those Pramanas we cannot understand our own self. When I am in my deep sleep, I am totally separated from my body, my mind, and this world. I remain alone. So that I who is present in deep sleep, I have to understand. But there are no means which can reach that deep sleep to make me understand who am I. The mind is not functioning there, the intellect is not functioning there, the senses don't reach there. So no pramana can touch that. So the only praman which can reveal my identity are the Vedas, the Upanishads. Again, when we try to understand this world, we use all technique. The science is struggling to understand the secret of this world. They break down the world into molecules, thinking that the molecules are the basic ingredients of this world. But then they came to know the molecules are also made up of atoms. Then they came to conclusion the atoms are the ingredients of this world. But then they understood the atoms also are made up of parts. There are subatomic particles. So they keep going deeper and deeper, but they have not yet reached the very source of this world. They have not yet understood what is the main ingredient of this world, because they are using faulty, limited method, the method of perception. Whether you perceive directly with your eyes or you perceive with your microscope or electron microscope, there are limitations. You cannot perceive everything. You only perceive a little part of this world. And from that little part, the science is trying to infer. So they come to some conclusion, but later on they come to know that, there are some more things which they pursue, and their previous theory gets eliminated. So Newton pursued something and he came to conclusion how the world functions. Thereafter Einstein came and he pursued something more, and he said that what Newton said is limited, and he gave his own theory of relativity and all those theories. Some other person came and he talked about the black holes. Some other person came and he talked about the Big Bang. And they keep talking and refining their theories. They have not yet reached the source, because the process is defective. The process of science, as it is going on, will not come to any conclusion. There are defects. Defect in perception, defect in the system of inference and all. So the Shastras are the Pramana. They are directly from that Supreme Reality itself. So Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavastito. Shastra is the Praman which tells us Karya and Akarya, what to do, what not to do. That is the basic of Dharma. Ye karo, ye mat karo. Do's and don'ts. And the Shastra also teaches us about that Brahma, which is my own self. So, Bhagavan says, Nyatva Shastra Vidhana Uktam, having understood what the scriptures are telling, having understood the guidance given by the scriptures. See, as I said, we cannot, even if we are intelligent by ourselves, if we try to study and understand, we will get lost. We will get confused. So the scripture should be learned from a guru who is part of that sampradaya. The Vedas are Anadi Ananta, and one who teaches this Vedas are also Anadi Ananta. That sampradaya is there, starting from Ishvara. Sadashiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam. So the teacher-student system from the same sampradaya, from same tradition, starting from Ishvara alone, will be able to interpret what the Shastras are saying. So when we listen and when we get the guidance from the teacher who is in tune with what the Vedas are teaching. So after knowing that, we should do our karma. Nyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iha Arhasi. One should do their karma, Iha, in this world. Do your karma, because your karma will take you towards your goal. Your karma will give you the result. Karma is very important. First, the step is karma. Then, jnanam. The knowledge of the self will happen after one follows the path of karma and purifies the mind. We have seen in the 3rd chapter also, Bhagavan had said, that giving up karma, one cannot attain that goal, moksha. Na karma anarambhat siddhim avapnoti. Nacha sanyasanadeva siddhim avapnoti. By giving up karma, not performing karma, we cannot gain that siddhi, we cannot gain that purity, and we cannot gain moksha. And what karma we should do? We should take guidance from Shastra, not from WhatsApp messages, not from worldly perception, but from Shastra. So, Nyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iharhasi. If we follow this properly, we will be able to purify our mind and reach our destination. Follow the GPS of the Shastras, and they will take us towards our destination. See, nowadays people with their GPS, they can drive and they can go anywhere. Just follow them and it will take you to your destination. And it will tell you also, okay, you have reached your destination. Similarly, when we follow these Shastras, they will take us towards our destination. But if we don't follow them, we will be in trouble. So thus Bhagavan concludes this beautiful chapter. So there is the Sankalpa Vakya we will chant. So Om Tat Sada iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yogo Nama Shodashodhyayaha. It is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat is the indicator of that Brahma. In this Bhagavad Gita, which is like Upanishad, the knowledge of Brahma is revealed, and also Yoga Shastra, the science of yoga, means science of spiritual practice, means theory as well as practice. Practicals are revealed here in the form of a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yogo Nama. The name of this chapter is Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Shodashodhyayaha. The 16th chapter concludes here. Om Tat Sat. So we have completed the 16th chapter, and most beautiful chapter. And now we will begin the 17th chapter. Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga Nama. But we will have a break. So tomorrow is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We won't have these classes, and we will begin with our study of the 17th chapter from Monday. Okay? It's also a very beautiful chapter. Every chapter has got its own beauty, power. So we shall begin the 17th chapter from Monday, after 3 days chutti. But I shall give you some questions. You ponder over those questions and answer them. Okay? So, till we meet, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. Do your work, do your sadhana, contemplate, think. Think till you get convinced about the right thing. See, what is the idea of contemplation? So that we convince our buddhi. अपनी बुद्धि को समझाओ, अपने मन को समझाओ. Convince your own mind, your own intellect. Then it is, the whole path is clear. Okay? And we shall meet again on Monday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. हरिः ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम.